Hey, I'm Elisha Joyce. I am the founder of a company called Rebel Grain, and I am also the creator of a whole food super snack called Smarty Bars. And in Smarty Bars, one of our ingredients is quinoa. And so I wanted to take this opportunity to just teach you a little bit about quinoa, kind of a Quinoa 101 class. Quinoa is one of those superfoods that I truly believe everybody needs to have in their home. It is a perfect protein. It used to be fed to the Inca warriors as they headed out to battle. It's prized as an endurance food, and it is a truly great basic food. It's what I call the blue jeans of your wardrobe. It's one of those basic foods that you can keep cooked in your fridge, use for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. So today what I really want to focus on for these first few minutes is just how do you cook quinoa? What are the basics of just having it available and at your fingertips? So let's start there. My favorite, absolute favorite quinoa is this bag of quinoa that I find at Costco. I think Costco has an excellent selection of whole organic foods if you know what you're looking for, and this happens to be one of them. It's a product that's manufactured or distributed by True Roots. It's 100% whole grain quinoa. It is organic as well. And a lot of what you'll hear out there about quinoa is that it's one of those foods that you have to rinse before you use because of the bitter taste. I cook quinoa all the time, and I will tell you, I've never had a problem with the bitter taste on my quinoa. I believe that the way that they process it now, it kind of removes that. So what I do is I actually just take the bag, I take my measuring cup, and I cook it. I never rinse it. The way you're going to cook it is you're going to do 1 to 2. So 1 cup of quinoa to 2 cups of water is the way that I like to cook it. And this is enough, probably 1 cup of quinoa would probably feed about 4 people, 3/4 of a cup of completed quinoa. So to the 1 cup, I had my 2 cups of water, and you'll see that's all we're going to do. Didn't rinse it. It's dry, straight out of the bag. And then I turn my stove on to high because I'm going to bring that to a rapid boil. The one thing I do, and this is I think just, I don't know, a habit that I have, is I do like to make sure that all of the quinoa is moistened. And so I just take my fork and I kind of mix it in like that. I'm going to leave it uncovered, bring it to a rapid boil. One thing also that you will notice that is probably different than a lot of other things that you've read about how to cook quinoa if you've done a little research is, a lot of times people will say to use chicken broth in your quinoa to give it some flavor. I actually do not do that. I believe in just using plain water, and the reason is because I can now use this batch of quinoa for things that are sweet and things that are savory. If you choose to cook quinoa with chicken broth, it kind of limits how you can use it if you want to put something sweet in it, for example. So this is just a very basic, water-based, no flavoring way to cook quinoa. So I've had it going now on about a 9, which is right under high, and it's now coming to a rapid boil about 3 minutes into it. So now that it's rapidly boiling, I'm going to let it do this for about a minute, which is what it's been going. And then I'm going to take my cover, I'm going to turn this down to about a 4, and then I'm just going to put the cover on it, and I'm going to let it keep cooking like that. Now quinoa, once you cover it, will probably cook in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer, I'm going to take a peek at it in 10 minutes, and I'm going to show you what it looks like at about that point. Okay, the timer for 10 minutes just went off, so I just wanted to show you what the quinoa is looking like. This is not ready. See how there's still some water in there? That tells me that I still need to keep cooking the quinoa. So if you ever open up the pot and that's what you see, cover it back up, put 5 more minutes. That's about 5 more minutes worth of water, I bet. 5 more minutes on your timer, and we'll come back and see in another 5 minutes. Okay, peeps, here we go. It's all ready. Officially done. This has now been cooking since I covered it for 15 minutes, and you can see that there is no water left over at the bottom of the pan. And you can also see that the quinoa, when it's cooked, you see those little strings come out. I forget what the name of those little things are. But anyway, that's what it's supposed to look like when it's fully cooked. So what I like to do at this point, now that all the water has gone out, I will turn it off. And I'm going to keep it covered. I'm going to let it steam just a little bit. You'd want to treat quinoa the same way you would if you were cooking rice. Once it is cooked, you kind of let it steam for just a couple minutes. It's not necessary, but it does help it to just get a little bit softer. And what I do is when that's finally done, I turn off my stove, then I get everything ready, because what I'm ultimately going to do is just pour this into my Tupperware that I'm going to keep in my fridge all week. So I want to get that. I'll pull out the cover that I need. And The beauty of cooking quinoa this way, like I said earlier in the video, is that by not using chicken broth, I'm going to be able to use this batch for lots of different things. I am flexible to use it for breakfast, which I'm going to teach you about tomorrow, how to use this as an oatmeal replacement. I like to put sweet things into that. I'm also going to be able to use this quinoa and make a snack I call quinoa patties, which I'll also share with you this week. And then you can also use plain quinoa to beef up spaghetti sauces and soups. Like I love to put this in a cauliflower soup that I make. It just gives it a little bit extra texture. And then super bowls, which is another thing we'll talk about this week. And a super bowl is a quinoa-based one bowl wonder is what I like to call it. And that's something that you can tote around to lunch or just keep in your fridge for when you need a little something between regular meals and you just need a little something savory or sweet. We'll talk about all that this week. But ultimately, that's what this very basic quinoa recipe does. It just gives you something to put into your fridge. And let's see, this is exactly what it looks like. It's nice, it's fluffy, it's light. And because I didn't add any sort of flavorings to this, I'm going to get to use it for lots of different things. Another thing I said earlier in the video is that this batch of quinoa would probably feed about 4 people, 3/4 of a cup. So I bet you that's about 1/4 of a cup. That's about 1/4 of a cup. Here you go, and then this is the last bit. And there you go. And that is Quinoa Basics 101. Now, can you eat quinoa this way? You can. It is a very, it's a very unique taste. Quinoa kind of has a little nutty flavor to it. But again, I like to use it the same way that I would use rice or noodles. It's just a nice foundational food. Think blue jeans. Think blue jeans and a t-shirt. Think blue jeans and a fancy shirt. Think blue jeans and high heels or blue jeans and tennis shoes. So that's what quinoa is. You can dress it up, dress it down. Here's your basic Quinoa 101. Hope you enjoyed that video. I'll see you back tomorrow and we'll talk about something sweet for breakfast with quinoa.